guys, so I forgot to mention yesterday that today I'm actually going to be in a college articulation agreement meeting, which to you guys means you guys get college credit for taking this class. And every year I've got to meet with the colleges locally and just make sure that we shake hands, we say, these are the things we're teaching, okay, that sounds good. We'll give these guys some credit if they want to come and continue their education at our spot. So that's where I'm at today. So instead of holding a normal Google Meet, I'm going to post this. I posted this video to go along with a assignment we're doing. Now I have finished off the patch panel that we started yesterday in class. So what I'm going to do now is I got everything real fit in there really nice, so that everything's really nice and nice, really nice and nice. It's really nice and it fits really well is what I'm trying to say. I've kept in the curve to the panel like the normal door has, and I've rolled the edges. So we're ready now to start kind of fitting this on. All right, so there's our patch area. There's our patch panel. And this is the piece that we actually cut out of that area, which is very, very rusty. So we're going to be putting this piece of metal in there and making it brand new again. What you can see on there that's still a little bit wet is this Eastwood heavy-duty rust protectant. It protects internal surfaces from rust and corrosion. Obviously this already has rust and corrosion in there. We just don't want it to get any worse, especially the bare metal that I kind of grinded there. I don't want it to get any worse. So I've coated that like that. Once I get this all welded in, I'm also going to be shooting rust encapsulator from Eastwood as well, just to make sure that we don't have any further rust, that this problem doesn't happen again to me in the future. Now if I fit this panel up, if I fit this panel up, you can see there's a small gap there. We'll be able to fill that in, no problem with weld. Our edge looks really, really good. And down here, there's hardly a gap at all. Now this area of metal is all on top of the steel. And what we're gonna end up happening is we're gonna cut around here and push this down so that at the end of the day, when we grind the weld down, it's gonna be super flat.
All right, so there's a few things that I'm going to need to do this, to slice this and get the panel to meet up perfectly. And if you guys watched that Fitzy's fabrication video, we're going to use a grinder with a really small or a thin cutting wheel. This one's cordless. I brought it from home. And then to make sure we're not putting too much heat into the panel, we've got our air hooked up. We want to always be able to feel this panel by hand and not have it burn us. And then obviously your MIG welder and helmet. So when you're cutting into this door, I think what I'm going to do is I'll probably start let's think about this. I think I'm going to start down here and work my way this way. So I'm going to slice in this way at a 45-degree angle and a little bit this way at a 45-degree angle, meaning not straight up and down. I'm going to cant it like this and try to zip cut in so that that gap is a little smaller. And then I can start welding this together. And then I'll keep cutting further and further around so that you guys can so that we get a nice finish. And then once I'm done with that, the metal that's under this metal will fall into the door and we can get that out from the other side.
Okay, so now I've kind of stitched it in, and you can see it's very flat. And so now we just need to keep walking these welds around until this entire panel is welded up. Then we're going to grind it nice and smooth, and hopefully we won't even be able to see where our repair is. The number one thing right now is keeping heat out of this. Make sure that we're not, creating little waves, bumps, highs and lows in here. So that's why I've got my air right there. All right, so now we've got it all spotted in. The welds are kind of, ugly, but that's kind of, we're not going for like a nice bead. We're just trying to get good penetration so that we can grind this all down and still have a lot of structure holding the metal on. So I'm going to use this grinder wheel now and grind down this weld, and then we'll go around and we'll hit any spots that we missed, and then after that we should be pretty good. So that's what we'll do now. Again, with the grinder, you want to make sure you're not putting in too much heat into this panel. You can put a lot of heat in just with this grinder. Well, I've got these kind of knocked down pretty close. I want to not remove a bunch of metal around the area that I don't want metal removed, if that makes sense. So I've got these knocked down probably 90% of the way. Now I'm going to use this, which generates a lot less heat, to continue and make this perfect. So that's what I'm going to do now. All right, so I've got it like this. It's pretty good through here. We got a couple holes here. and we want to seal up some of that seam and some of this seam here. Actually, I could do a little more grinding down here as well. So we're just going to fill in some of these pinholes with weld, go back with another round, and then we'll grind it down, and hopefully that'll be the last of the welding. And then this feels really flat, really good. So I'm happy with it so far. Let's finish it off. All right, so second round of welding, just filled in some holes. I have cooled it down, it's nice and cool to the touch now. And now we're gonna grind all these flat and hopefully be good to go. All right, it's in. It feels super good. Of course, it's gonna need some filler, but you know, you never do this stuff that perfectly. So this one is pretty close to done. I'm going to flip it over and show you guys the underside and what I want to do back there, and then we'll be done with this patch. All right, so there's the underside of the door. Now obviously we can close this gap up a little bit, and we can also, there's a little ridge there, so I want to knock this a little bit more flat, but I wanted to wait until this patch was in to do that, so I'm not hitting it and it's moving all around. So all I'm going to simply do is take a dolly and put it on the bottom side so that I'm not just pushing the metal out, and then I'm just going to lightly tap with a hammer all the way down. Then we're going to weld this seam, and this seam, and call it done. So there you are. I'm going to dress these welds a little more, but now everything is all tied together. This is really nice and thin, just like the rest of the door. And now I'm going to just flip it over one more time and show. All right, so there it is. Nice and smooth. And if you remember, that's what it used to look like. So now it's nice, shiny new metal. We coated the inside. We're going to do more coating of the inside. We made our patch. We welded it in. The door flows really nice, and I think this was a successful repair. I'm still going to do the same process on this side, because obviously this has some pretty major rust. So I'm going to cut this section out, make a patch it in, and then we'll be ready to finish this door off. So I hope you guys learned something. Hopefully we'll have this door ready for primer here pretty quick, and I'm going to show you how to do a large smear of body filler and how to block that out. So peace out, have a good weekend, and we'll see you guys on Monday.